Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Picture International with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 29th of August, 2023, guys. So, yep, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session, where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, the usual stuff, basically. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll disappear from that little left corner in there and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, just the usual quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. I mean, we're always here. We're always here, ready to help you. So just drop us anything. So now then, guys, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. As always, yes, I mean, I start off with this one just to see what's happening, what happened during the Asian session. Yeah, look, I mean, we pushed higher, we remained above that 50-day EMA. I talked about this a lot already, so to be honest, I mean, maybe even not much to say here. We did push, we did stay above this, even though we did decline a little bit here, as you can see, but we stayed above that 50-day EMA. So from the technical perspective, I would say everything's quite okay here. And still, there is some positivity. There could still be some positivity if we remain above this 50-day EMA, if we stay above it. Yeah, if we do drop back below it, now that's a different story. Then, of course, yes, we could see maybe, a move back towards the 100-day EMA. Now, one of the, let's say, technical patterns, and I'll mention this one in one of the other indices as well, is the not very often used the falling three method. Basically, there's like a falling three, rising three, or the same bearish three, bullish three, right? So they're kind of the same. But the falling three here is basically when you have like a sharp candle which indicates the trend, and then you have like a corrective move higher. If it's a what's the falling three, there's this falling three, and then there's this other one. Basically, the falling three might be something like this, where you have the three consecutive candles in the opposite direction, not specifically, they don't have to be specifically within the body of the first candle. The fifth candle, actually, this can be like this, somewhere, let's say, close enough. And then, yeah, the fifth candle can sharply, we can see a sharp decline, kind of basically following the footsteps of the first candle. So, again, it's a theory. It's something that sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. So, just don't kind of, just keep that in mind, but don't really, like, let's say, purely rely on it, because again, you should not rely on anything. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is sure in the market, so it's always like a bit of a gamble. So at this point, look, we are still trading above that 50-day EMA, so I'm kind of pushing towards the upside. However, if we start falling below it, then yes, so we could see maybe a bit of a a decline here, but we'll get to that point if we do see this. But of course, I'm not saying like anything. I'm not excluding the upside scenario yet. China 50. So Yesterday, we had some news, or should I say, the market was hit by the news that came out during the weekend from China, that China is kind of preparing more stimulus towards the money markets, so capital markets, should I say, and that they're gonna have the duties, have the kind of the fees that will be required to pay. So in a way, that's kind of stimulating the capital markets and also limiting the amount of IPOs. And so that means that creating kind of demand for the existing stocks, so or at least trying to create demand for the existing stocks or make them more attractive. Yeah, let's see if that's gonna work. Short term, we're seeing some nice activity here, and we popped above this downside line. Yes, we did drift back down after that, after we found good resistance here near that 13,000 mark. And now the question is, I mean, will we continue to trade above this downside line? Because you can see that we kind of drifted back down, tested this downside line from above. And now the question is, can we go back to the upside? So long story short, I would say this way, that in order to kind of aim higher, for now, I will keep an eye on this little level right here. Let me just, where's my magnet? There we go. I'll keep an eye on this little level, this 12,879. So for my own, this is my level. This is something that I'm keeping an eye on. I want to see if this is going to work or not. It's a little bit, I would say, maybe experimental, but let's see if that's going to work. So for me, for example, if I see the push above the 12,879 territory and I see the body of the daily candle staying above this, then yes, I will go a little bit to the upside again. Potentially kind of aiming maybe for this 13,000 mark again, near the 200-day EMA. But also, I think I need to mark this little hurdle here. And I think that, yes, this is where we found resistance near the 13,114, 15 level, something like that, around those lines. And then, yes, we will take it from there, guys. So for now, long story short, a push back above the 12,879 territory potentially could increase the chances for a move to the upside again towards this 200-day EMA, or maybe even this 13,115 level. But again, this is something, like I said, this is something not the usual that I do. I'm just very curious if this is going to work or not. For the downside, look, okay, I think that this downside line needs to go. I think it's going to be a little bit in the way. So if you're looking for some lower levels, probably the better option is maybe to wait. Well, there is actually no better. Well, maybe again from this level here, this 12,727. If we do fall back below it, because we will also fall, and we'll also fall below all of the remaining EMAs here in our EMAs here on my daily chart. And that's why maybe this could be seen as a little bit of a bearish indication. So again, something to keep in mind, something to consider. But if you're not really comfortable right now with, let's say, China 50 index, honestly, I don't blame you, because I'm kind of trying to find some sort of like logic in this. So far, I'm kind of seeing it, kind of not, but that's why, it's a little bit experimental, if I can say it this way. ASX 200. So ASX 200. Oh, by the way, in terms of Japanese data, actually, we had some Japanese data this morning. If you've missed that, we had some unemployment number. We had the unemployment number from Japan, and basically that kind of didn't really work out well, because the forecast was for 2.5. The previous was 2.5. It came out at 2.7. So with Nikkei, you can see that, yes, the negativity kind of is there a little bit. But will it be enough to drive it lower? Again, we'll wait and see, because at the moment the indices, like the U.S. indices and some other ones, are pushing a little bit higher. But again, everything is temporary, as always. Nothing is permanent. So let's see what's going to happen further. Here, ASX 200. Look, not much data today. Just we're seeing some positivity here. I think that from the previous U.S. session, I mean, that closed in positive territory, and I think that the ASX 200 is just following the footsteps of the U.S. indices. And but tomorrow we do have some housing data, building approvals in Australia, construction work done. That's and private house approvals. So yeah, that's going to be quite interesting to see. Monthly CPI indicator year on year. Yes, I mean, so that's another one to watch. But look, from the technical perspective, I talked about this and I told you while we remain in this territory here, I'm neutral. I'm just observing the price action. But if we do start breaking this downside line and we push above these EMAs here on my daily chart, then yes, I'll aim for higher levels, slightly higher levels towards this downside line drawn from the high of the 27th of July. And then we'll take it from there. In terms of the downside, drop below the 7,040 territory is required in order to go lower. This potentially could attract more sellers into the game, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Now then, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and before I jump into the U.S. indices, good morning, everyone. There we go. Good morning, everyone in the chat room. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Tuesday. I hope you're feeling nice and refreshed. Well, I'm sure I'm not really feeling refreshed, but oh well, didn't really get much sleep, but that's fine. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Looking at the picture here, yes, we're seeing a nice push higher. The only thing is that it's really kind of sluggish. It's a little bit like it's trying to get there, but it's trying to get there, but it seems like it's struggling with that. But again, look, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average for now, as I said, I am aiming for that 50-day EMA, and then I'll take it from there. I have this important area of resistance, which acted as a good area of resistance previously. It didn't really act as a good area of support, but resistance, look, I'm going to keep an eye on it. If I want to go, let's say, much higher, I need to see a break of this downside line drawn from the high of the 27th of July, and then yes, we could get a little bit more excited with with higher levels. For the downside, I need to see a break below this upside line drawn from the low of the 15th of March, and then yes, I will examine slightly lower levels. But again, I understand that we could be missing out on this territory here. So my simplistic approach on the Dow right now is that given that we popped above the 100-day EMA and stayed above it, and this is what I said to you, that my next target will be the 50-day EMA, and then I'll take a pause. And then I'll see what's going to happen further. If it's going to travel a little bit higher, great. Okay, maybe it is going to clear my highlighted zone here, this resistance barrier. But if not, then maybe a bit of a retracement back down here could be possible. Jean 920, thoughts on NASDAQ 100. I'll get to that one. Look, I mean, this is the list that I normally go through in my videos. I mean, it changes sometimes, but and you actually can see the list of instruments in the description before the video starts. So yeah, so just bear with me one moment. Like I said, I'll get to NASDAQ 100 in a bit. The S&P 500. So okay, descending triangle. Maybe, because look, we have our downside line and we have this little key support zone near the 4,375. Well, the level here is not really, let's say, I'm not really saying that this is, the level to watch. No, I mean, oh no, I don't like this one. Why is it like this? There we go, there we go, and like this, there we go. So maybe this is a descending triangle, maybe it isn't. But I think that the easier option is just to wait for a clear breakthrough one of the sides and then maybe do something about it. Because maybe this is, break through this downside line and push above the 50-day EMA, but yeah, okay. Look, at this point, I don't like it. I will say I will wait for it to do something, either with this downside line, because of the break on a break of this downside line, we could also get a break above the 50-day EMA, potentially attracting more buyers into the game because we would be above all of the EMAs on our daily chart again. But of course, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not the 100% indicator that's saying like, oh, if we're above all the EMAs in our daily chart, that means we're gonna go higher. No, because we have these little moments like this here, like here, where yes, it does push higher. If we stay there for a while, then yes, maybe the bulls will think that, hey, you know what? I think we're strong enough and we can drive this one. So let's drive it. No, we need to kind of see it like bouncing around a little bit more, or sitting above this a little bit for a little bit longer. So at this point, yes, there is potential for some upside here, but again, a break is needed, and not only like just a false breakout. I need to see the bodies of the daily candles here on my futures. And by the way, the indices that I'm looking at are the futures. So I need to see this one staying above this territory, and then yes, I will go a little bit more to the upside. Probably I'll get even more comfortable with the higher levels if we do see a push above the 4,485 zone right here somewhere. For the downside, yes, I will start looking at some lower levels if we do fall below the 4,375 territory, and then we'll take it from there. Maybe we'll end up drifting all the way towards that 200-day EMA. NASDAQ 100. So yes, as I said to you yesterday in my morning video, I spoke about this, and I told you that, look, maybe we're in a rising channel, a small little short-term rising channel from which kind of started from around here, mid-August. The only thing is that maybe this could be seen as a continuation pattern for the downside, because look, before entering this pattern, yes, it's a rising channel with an incline, yeah, here, or actually rising channel isn't with an incline, so it's a rising channel. So given that maybe it's a rising channel, yes, maybe it's actually going to be seen, like as I said, like a continuation pattern, because the prevailing trend before we got into that channel was to the downside. So this is like a little pause here. And now the question is, can we see a drift lower? Well, for that, I think that the easier option is to wait for a break of the lower side of the rising channel here, and then do something about it. Because at the same time, we'll fall below the 100-day EMA, which, as you can see, coincides nicely with the lower side of the rising channel, this green line. And then, yes, we could kind of go from there. If you need a level, I think that maybe this could work out. The 14,753 area, approximately around there. And then, yes, we could get a little bit more excited with the downside, potentially aiming for that 200-day EMA. But at this point, look, we are near the 50-day EMA. I'm still kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside, to be honest, but I need that stronger move above this 50-day EMA. If we get that, then yes, my next target is the upper side of this rising channel. The German index, DAX. So this is the other index that I talked about the falling 3 method. So we have our candle, a sharp candle to the downside, 3 corrective candles higher, and now the question is, can we see the fifth one kind of working out lower here? Well, this is only the fourth candle in this pattern, and it is the final one kind of to the upside. Or let's see if it will be that, because again, like I said, it's not guaranteed. So it's just something that I'm trying to rub my leather ball and kind of foresee the future. But the question for me right now is the 15,878. Will we stay below it, because that was the lower side of the range previously, which I talked about in the beginning of August. So we cleared it, and now the question is, can this area act as a good area of resistance? If it can, then yes, I will maybe consider that falling 3 method. If not, then, well, let's examine the next target, the 50-day EMA, and then the maybe the 16,000 mark or a little bit above and then we'll go from there. Just wanted to quickly double check from Europe. We don't have EU economic forecasts. Those are coming out today. But when I was while I was talking about the U.S. Indices, I think I forgot to mention that today we have the JOLTS job openings, something that probably the market will keep an eye on. CB consumer confidence, again, something that the market might keep an eye on. So yeah, guys, I mean, look, we do have an eventful week. I told this yesterday in my morning video on Monday. So we do have an eventful week. But yeah, I think that tomorrow's data is going to be a little bit even more interesting in the US. And in Europe as well, we do have some good data coming out from Germany, from Eurozone as a whole. So keep your eyes on that one. And that's why I am not rushing into anything, because look, tomorrow we do have the German CPI, like preliminary CPI numbers. Then we have the consumer confidence in the Eurozone. Consumer inflation expectation, yes, something to keep in mind. Yes, so in general, tomorrow, yes, it is quite an eventful day. And then after that, we do have the ADPs, preliminary US GDP numbers. So all that could affect, because if US numbers come out, they have an effect on the indices, US indices, and then the DAX might follow the footsteps. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that's why don't be surprised, for example, if today we see this one just kind of bouncing around here somewhere and not really doing much. The FTSE 100. So the FTSE 100, just bear with me one moment. Yes, so we popped above this barrier, and look, I talked about this and I said to you that if we do clear this 7,400 zone, this is what I mentioned yesterday, then I'll consider a further larger correction to the upside towards my 50-day EMA, and then this downside line drawn from the high of the 31st of July. So if that gets tested, great, wonderful, then I'll take it from there. But at this point, look, I am keeping an eye on this 7,400 zone. As long as we stay above it, then yes, I am aiming a little bit north. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 7,326 territory, and then I'll go lower. US dollar index. So US dollar index. Okay. What can I say here? We had a nice correction here yesterday. I said to you that keep your eyes on this upside line drawn from the low of the 18th of July, because if this kind of holds, if we see a further correction lower, and if this upside line holds, then great. I mean, we could see a nice rebound and a push towards the highest point of May of 2023. Yes. Near the 104.61 level. It's not the highest point of this year, because the highest point of this year is around here, the 105.87. But hey, let's go slowly, right? Let's not rush into anything. For now, I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. I'm still kind of leaning a little bit more towards the test of this upside line, to be honest. But okay, the market doesn't always do what I want it to do, so let's wait and see. Right, yeah, gold, there we go, look, it popped above this barrier. I was telling you to keep an eye on it yesterday, this 1921 zone. I said that if we do pop and stay above it, then yes, further upside here could be possible, and there we go, we popped, we stayed. My next question is, will we get a test of that 50-day EMA? That's my next target. If we clear that one, my next target is the 100-day EMA. Currently, the 50-day EMA is roughly around that 1928 zone, 28, 29, something like that. And the 100-day EMA is somewhere around the 1934-35 zone. So good potential targets. Let's see if we can reach those. For the downside, okay, for the downside, it's a little bit difficult, I think, at this point. Maybe something like this to keep in mind. But I think that the better option is to wait for a drop back below the 200-day EMA, and then, yes, we could consider a move a little bit lower here. So not only that we would get a break of this upside line, we would also get a drop below this 1917 zone or 1917-16 area, near that, basically near that 200-day EMA. If we do fall below it, yes, I'll go a little bit lower. Right. Oh, by the way, you know what? I really don't like this. Let me just try to change the this price, last price. I want to actually put it somewhere like around orange. Yes, there we go. I think this would be much better. So let's keep it as orange, because this way I can differentiate, because that I had it as green and my EMA is also here as green. So I think this is a little bit better. Silver. Silver. Okay, silver is a little bit tricky because this one's struggling. It's struggling with that barrier, that 24.36. Look, I need to see a nice good push above that in order to consider a larger correction to the upside. So yes, gold did pop a little bit nice, a little bit more to the upside. This one is a little bit lagging. So I'm not giving up, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm still kind of considering maybe a move higher. But I need that pop. I need that pop above the 24.36 zone in order to go a little bit higher towards that downside line drawn from the high of the 4th of May. Platinum, something that I wanted to pick up on, and boom, fantastic. I talked about this yesterday, and my mission accomplished. So, what I've talked about last week. Last week I said to you, keep your eyes on this downside line, because if it gets broken and we stay above it, then my next target is the 50-day EMA. Then if that gets cleared, the 100-day, and then it's the 200-day EMA. Tick, tick, tick. Yesterday, when I was talking about this one, we were kind of already ticked the 50-day EMA, and I said to you then, well, the next one is the 100 and the 200, and there we go. Congratulations to us. Now the question is, will we go further north? Well, this is where the pause is happening, and you can see that, yes, gold did a move, but will it actually go further north? But silver is stalling, and again, platinum has reached its target here for now. Will it go further north? That's a good question. So for now, at this point, I would say let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, and let's keep an eye on some of these barriers. So if we do clear this this 200-day EMA, my next target is this one right here, the 995 territory, approximately around here, and then I'll go from there, because maybe, just maybe, this will end up being a range. But again, who knows? We don't have the crystal ball, but we can only assume, and so far it seems a little bit on the logical side for me. But again, will that be the case? Let's wait and see. Nasdaq, natural gas, there we go. We popped back above the, I've mentioned yesterday natural gas. We popped back above this upside line. We cleared the EMAs, but only the two of the EMAs, not the all the 200. We didn't reach the 200. The 200 is here, and to be honest, the 200 is becoming a very nice area, nice target, because it's, I think, a little bit more, and it will coincide nicely with the upper side of my range here that I have on my chart. So yeah, I think that's a very good good potential target. Let's see if we can reach that. But for that, I need to see a rebound from this upside line and from these, the 50 and the 100-day EMA. If we get that, great. I will go towards that psychological 3 level and maybe that 200-day EMA. For the downside, again, a drop below the 2.45, something like that, level is required. Sugar, something that you probably don't look at very often, but hey, I thought I was still gonna mention this one because I do look at these commodities occasionally, and look, we do have them here on easy markets. So my question now is, what's going to happen with this? I mean, after seeing a nice push higher, a nice reversal here to the upside, not even failing to reach the 200-day EMA and just kind of drifting higher straight, like from here somewhere, just kind of didn't reach the 200 and reversed, and now it cleared also this this barrier here, the high of the 24th of July, or should I say the highest point of July near the 25.30. So as long as we stay above it, there is, of course, a potential for this one to go further north. However, we do have this downside line right now, so which could be a little bit in the way. If we clear it, okay, great. Yes, I will go further north. I'll target this level near the 26.50 zone. Let's round it up here a little bit. Or maybe I'll aim for this 27.08 level, which is the highest point of April and at the same time the highest point of this year. Like I said, good question. Will we end up breaking this upper side, or should I say the downside line? Or as I wanted to say, the upper side of a possible triangle pattern? That's a good question, like I said. At the moment, let's not rush into anything. Let's keep an eye on this. So if we do get a clearance of this downside line, then yes, I will go a little bit more to the upside, at least towards that 26.50 zone. Oil. Just bear with me one moment. So, oil is flirting with that $80 mark. And I'm talking about WTI oil. So it's flirting with that $80 mark. In general, I'm still a little bit more on the bullish side just because we broke the downside line and we have aimed for this 81.74 territory. So, long story short, I would say this way that for now, yes, I'm going to lean towards the upside. And I'm going to aim for that 81.74 territory, but I'm going to get more comfortable with that idea if we do push above the psychological $80 mark again. And we stay above it. If we don't, then we might see some sort of like oscillation around that area. And then, yeah, we'll just have to go from there. But if we do fall back below this downside line, I'm not really going to get very bearish because I think that this downside line needs to go. And I think that it's better to actually maybe mark something around this. It's a very tentative line, don't get me wrong. It's a line that might not carry much significance, but to be honest, given that it might coincide here with the 50-day EMA, so that could work out nicely. So if we do break below the 50-day EMA, then yes, my next target is this one right here. So my next target is the 77.60 territory here. I think this the lowest point of August, the current lowest point of August, because don't forget that we still have what 3 days left of trading here in August. So currently it's the lowest point, the current lowest point of August. Maybe it will change. I don't know, but that's, yeah, we need some sort of sharp declines, to be honest. But again, at the moment, I'm kind of cautiously leaning towards the upside, but I'll get more comfortable with that if we do push and stay above that $80 mark. Bitcoin. So, look, nothing much here. I talked yesterday about this last week, the end of last week, so I'm just observing the price action, waiting for it to do something. It seems like a bearish flag, but I need a confirmation break below the 25,810 zone, somewhere below this, in order to go further south. Dogecoin, similar story, but for this one, actually, I'm going to remove all the drawings for now, just to keep it simple. You can see yourselves that, yeah, maybe this is a nice bearish flag, or maybe a bearish pennant. Yeah, for now, I'm kind of maybe expecting this one to go a little bit lower, but again, some confirmation for me is needed, so maybe a drop below the 0.06 area would be ideal, and then, yes, we could go a little bit to the downside. I do have this little upside line right here, which could be a nice good target initially. That's what I'm gonna aim for at the moment. If we do fall below the 0.06 territory, for the upside, maybe from the very short-term perspective, a push above the 0.0653 territory might do the trick, but then you have to worry about this downside line here, which could be a little bit in the way. So basically, it would look something like this. Jean 920, thoughts on Tesla. Okay, look, I mean, I don't cover stocks in this in this webinar. Why? Because, okay, you can look at the technicals in there, but you have to quickly look at you have to kind of be a little bit more prepared, and you have to look at the fundamentals as well. So Tesla right now, I mean, I can look at it from the technical side, but that might not be useful. So that's why stocks, this is something a little bit different. So I'm thinking about maybe doing something around stocks, like a little webinar or something like that, just or maybe short videos, something like that. But not at the moment. But yeah, sorry about that. Like I said, in the moment, it's mainly indices, commodities, cryptos, and currencies. So let's jump into a few pairs. AUDJPY, so one of my favorite ones, and there we go. We're pushing above this downside line, so that's great. What I want to say is that although it's looking quite positive, to be honest, still there is an element of the doubt, as always. Will this stay above this downside line? Will it not be the same as here, for example? And at this point, look, yes, I'm leaning towards the upside. But I'm gonna keep it short and simple as long as it stays above this downside line. My next target is the 94.90 territory right here. This is a very strong area of resistance, a strong barrier. So I'm going to aim for that one first. Why? Because the same story. I'm curious if this is not going to end up being something of a range here. So yeah, could be. But let's not judge yet. Maybe it will, hit this one. Maybe it'll clear it and go further north, or maybe actually it will be not this range. Maybe it will be this range here. So that's why, let's keep all the possible scenarios on the table. So for now, let's keep it short and simple. So for now, I'm aiming for this territory. If we stay above this downside line, if we do drop back below it, yep, I will consider a bit of a move to the downside here. AUDNZD, also one of my favorite ones, and there we go. We're trying to make our way above this 1.0879. I've talked about this yesterday, but I have to admit that this is not really working as I would like it to work. Yes, it's pushing higher, but it's kind of starting to oscillate around this. So when it starts oscillating around a level or a barrier that you were looking at, maybe something is wrong. Maybe it's not actually the right way to look at it. So unfortunately, we have to go back to the drawing board, and we need to kind of start a little bit fresh. So in general, I'm still kind of pointing a little bit higher, but this was a little bit more of my confirmation thing, but I can see that it's not really working anymore. So I have to kind of rethink this a little bit. So look, I think that from the shorter term perspective, we can do this. So we can keep an eye on this little short-term upside line drawn from the low of the 22nd of August. If we continue to trade above it, then yes, I will go further north towards the possible upper side of this range, or let's say towards the upper side of a possible range. There we go. I think that would be this way is a little bit more correct to say. So yeah, that's going to be my target, and then I'll take it from there. If we do break this steeper upside line drawn from the low of the 22nd of August, then yes, we could see a bit of a corrective move lower here, maybe towards this other upside line. But hey, let's not rush. Let's not judge. So for now, let's aim for this upside line, and then we'll go from there. USDJPY. USDJPY, very interesting developments here. We're still stuck near this 146.56 territory. Yesterday we had an attempt to clear it, and we did clear it, but we failed to stay above it. So I'm still waiting for that. If I need to see that clearance in order to go higher. So at this point, I'm not getting it, so that means I'm just going to observe the price action. For the downside, I need to see it drop below that 145 territory at least, and then we'll take it from there. USDCAD, okay, look, I talked about this yesterday, and I said to you, look, as long as we stay above the 1.3575 territory, I'm still leaning towards the upside. And look, we did decline yesterday. We found good support here near that area, near that level. rebounded and stayed above this hurdle. So I think I need to grab this highlighted zone. And for now, from the very short-term perspective, I think that this is what I will stick to for the moment. So this little level. This little level is something that I'm going to be watching, and if we continue to trade above it, then yes, I will go higher, but only up until this zone here, and the zone between the 1.3651 and 1.3668 levels. If those get cleared, then yes, of course, the next target is the downside line here. But this downside line is drawn from the high of the 13th of October of 2022. So medium term, a downside resistance line. Good potential, or actually maybe, no, still medium term. So yeah, that's the game plan. Look, for the downside, maybe actually we could start looking at some lower levels if we do fall below the 1.3575 territory right here. But hey, let's not rush into anything. Maybe it's gonna, find support somewhere here. But actually, you know what? This steep upside line, maybe that we could maybe already look at some lower levels if we do drop it below that 1.3575 territory right here. USDCHF. So, I talked about this yesterday. I think Daredevil Dave asked me to, but what I said to you that, look, we're struggling with this downside line, right? We're kind of trading, I would say, not below it, not above it. We're just kind of oscillating around it, and the trend is to the downside. That's why we're kind of oscillating lower. So for now, as much as I would like to look at it from the let's say bullish perspective, I would still need to see some clarity here. I get it. Maybe it's forming a nice bullish flag here, like right here. We have our pole. We have our little correction. Maybe this is a bullish flag. But I think at this point, for me, I need some more confirmation. Not only that, so I would get more comfortable with the upside if we do push above the 0.8876 zone right here. Basically, if we do also push above the 100-day EMA, and then yes, I'll go aim to the upside here, initially targeting the 0.89 zone, and then we'll take it from there. For the downside, I'm also struggling because, look, my downside scenario is from around here, this 0.8757 territory, which is the lowest point of 2021. Yep, 2021. So yeah, that's why for me at this point, I think it's a little bit difficult to say where exactly it's going to go. I mean, I'm kind of leaning a little bit maybe towards the upside just because of the bullish flag and just because we're kind of hugging this downside line. We're not really pushing away to the downside from it. Hey, so maybe we could examine the upside scenario. But again, confirmation break is needed. GBPUSD, stalling. For now, we are stalling near the this hurdle. I talked about it. Look, in terms of economic data from Britain, I think it's something is coming up tomorrow. Yeah, we have the money supply. Yes, mortgage approvals in the UK. And on Friday, Thursday, nationwide HPI numbers. And I think that's it, isn't it? Nationwide HPI number. Yeah, that's on Friday. So that's on Friday, actually. So look, okay, we don't have much data, but I think that it might be submissive to the US dollar this week. So keep your eyes on the USD, on this little fella right here. And I think that it will have its effect, yes, on GBPUSD here. So for now, looking at the technical picture, we can see that after breaking the lower side of the range, we drifted lower. Now we're retracing it, testing the lower side of the range from underneath. And now the question is, can we see another decline? If it holds, then yes, I am aiming for that 200-day EMA. If we push back above it, I'm going to take a bit of a neutral stand, to be honest, because maybe for higher levels, I would need to see a push above the 100-day EMA. GBP Aussie. So 1.9576 is something that I'm keeping an eye on. I told you already about this one. And yes, if we do drop below it, my next target is the 50-day EMA, shown here as the red line. And then, of course, if that gets cleared, then certainly I will go further south towards the this upside line, and then we'll just kind of go from there. For the upside, if you're looking for some higher levels on this one, well, of course, I'm not saying anything. Maybe it'll drift lower, test the 50-day EMA or this down or this upside line, and then rebound and push back up. But I get it; it's a little bit, a bit of a wait. So maybe you're looking for something a little bit earlier. Again, maybe this could work out, this 1.9688. If we do push above it, this potentially could attract more buyers into the game. The only problem for them could be this downside line. So in other words, we could only aim for maybe this downside line initially, and then we'll go from there. EURCHF, something that I like, and yes, so far so good. Look, it's not really doing much, but why I'm saying so far so good, because we're in this range, and maybe, just maybe, look, if we do break this downside line within the range, then yes, this could open the door towards slightly higher levels, towards the midpoint of this range, and maybe the upper side of that range. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the lower side of the range, and then yes, I'll go a little bit more south. The lower side of the range here for me is roughly around that 0.9525 territory, and I will go from there. Euro Aussie, there we go. We're drifting nicely to the downside, and as I said to you yesterday, that I'm keeping an eye on this 1.6755 territory. If that gets cleared, this will lead to a larger correction to the downside towards the 50-day EMA and maybe this upside line as well. For the upside, I would need, let's say, in case it decides to reverse earlier without even actually drifting all the way towards that 50-day EMA, then I would actually prefer to wait for a push above this territory, this 1.6944, and then yes, I will go a little bit higher. If we break the upside line, well, guess what? Lower levels could be met. EURUSD, so a beautiful hold up near the 200-day EMA. So what can I say? It's an interesting one. So far, so good. The bears seem to be in control. If you're looking for some lower levels, I would say at this point, let's say, because we got a hold up below the 200-day EMA, I would actually prefer to wait for a drop below this, at least below this 1.0793 territory, in order to start looking at some lower levels. If we do push above this 200-day EMA and stay above it, then yes, we could say that, there is still potential for the downside, because it could go a little bit higher, test the downside line, fail to break it, and then drift back down. So basically, beautiful, nice correction higher before another leg of selling. Now, in case you're looking for some much higher levels, a break of this downside line is required in order to get a little bit more satisfied with the upside. But then, of course, we could only aim for the 100 and the 50-day EMAs and this 1.0930 zone as well. So long story short, if you're looking for something right now, either the upside or the downside scenario, you have to wait. Right now at this point, if we continue to trade below the 200-day EMA, you need to wait at least maybe for a drop back below the 1.0793. If we do climb back above this, then the question is, will we test this downside line and then go lower? That's another problem. But if we break the downside line, maybe, hey, this could open the door towards some higher levels. But again, also, if we get a false breakout, the bulls should not get their hopes up too much. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's pretty much it for this webinar. I hope you found it useful, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching until the end. Thank you for Jean. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate that. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my traders, or should I say traders, my Easy Markets daily pitch for my traders. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a beautiful trading day. Stay safe. Have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose, and everything will be fine. So, see you tomorrow, guys, and bye.
Want to continue to please the trading gods? Subscribe to our channel for a blessing.